Welcome, Bloomington. Welcome all. This is a long-awaited occasion, and I cannot be happier to be sharing it with you all. This is a historic night, one to remember and tell your children and your grandchildren about. We are gathered for the opening of this city-changing parks project, a landmark in Bloomington's 200-year history, an ambitious park that will transform a central swath of our city and become a beloved destination for Bloomington families and for visitors for miles around. Ambitious indeed. Did you like that train kind of theme, by the way? Wasn't that cool? That was neat. Yes, we are ambitious, and that means all of you gathered here tonight, the fabric of our community, leaders, members who are leaders, join me on stage, all of us for a transformation like this, and it doesn't happen overnight. You know that. In fact, it gestates for decades. We're going to hear from several folks tonight, and I'm particularly grateful that joining us to begin are some dear friends who can share Switchyard Park's origin story, who bring very important institutional memory. I am so glad we can hear from former mayors Tommy Allison and John Fernandez, beginning with when the park we're about to dedicate tonight was just a gleam in Mayor Allison's eye.
While the railroad here was still active, before we knew whether CSX would abandon the historic Monon Railroad lying between Bedford and Bloomington and stop using the McDowell Switchyard right here while where we're standing. Before that, we had a gleam in the eye that perhaps someday this could be a park. So with significant effort, we got a signed agreement from the railroad that the city would have the right of first refusal to buy the Switchyard Park. Land, now park. That meant that I remember the day 27 years ago, in 1992. That meant when I read the news that the CSX was indeed planning to abandon the property, we were ready. It meant the stage was set for when the last train whistle blew, that it might signal a new start for Bloomington. Of course, things don't happen overnight. We got prepared, but it would be another 12 years before the last freight train left McDowell Switchyard. By then, it was Mayor Fernandez at the helm.
Thanks, Tommy. Good evening. Well, Tommy, we're all very grateful that you had the vision and saw the possibilities of what could be here. Rather than the Monon being a divider of our city, we shared a vision of converting these tracks into a space that would bring all of Bloomington together. In February of 2003, the city secured $5.4 million in a state grant that would enable us to convert the McDowell Switchyard into an urban rail trail. By the end of that year, we were on our way. We bought 12 acres of the rail corridor from the Indiana Railroad for a whopping $350,000. Seems like a pretty good investment. We relocated the active switching yard, and with so many of our members of our community, many of the people who are here today, we began the important work of planning and designing what would become this transformative project for the city. And I'm really pleased to be here tonight as we begin the next chapter. Certainly enjoyed being a part of this story. There were several people that were involved in the city, at the community at the time when this began. And for them, I'm incredibly grateful for everything you did to make this happen. Thank you.
So we are so grateful to the vision and leadership of Mayors Allison and Fernandez. By the time my immediate predecessor, Mayor Mark Cruzan, came into office, the train was speeding down the tracks. Mark, who is out of town tonight, I believe it's a Chicago Bears issue, I don't know, with his family. He's very sorry he couldn't be here tonight. He wanted to express that to you. He took this project to the next level with his administration, with active acquisition of more land and the design and build phases of our beloved Beeline Trail, which first rolled out in 2009. In 2011, Mayor Cruzan, along with the city's Parks Board and staff, commissioned the Switchyard Parks Master Plan. And in 2015, the City Council approved bonds to fund this project out of tax increment finance resources. We are here because 3 successive mayors and their administrations had the vision and the leadership to run the relay races that these big projects demand, to move from imagination to reality. Would you please show your thanks to their service? Thank you, guys. In 2016, when I became mayor, it was Switchyard Park's time to shine. We reviewed and approved the plans, designs, and budgets to consider and make 1,000 decisions to get us to today. Since January 1, 2016, it has been full speed ahead for this park that we are unveiling tonight. Many of you will remember convening at the northern end of the park 18 months ago, also a chilly day, for the groundbreaking ceremony. Along the way, one of this park's most steadfast stewards has been Mick Renison, the longtime director of the city's Parks and Recreation Department, who served our city under all 4 mayors. Mick is now our deputy mayor. With great appreciation for his leadership and his own vision and unwavering dedication to this park, which would not be here without him. Please welcome Deputy Mayor Renison to the stage.
I think all that really means I'm getting old. I really do appreciate the opportunity to speak about my role in this incredibly momentous occasion for our community. And today, I'm going to try to serve as the project's historian. Again, the old theme. As you've heard from Mayors Allison, Fernandez, and Hamilton, this project has had a long timeline with many steps along the way. I personally want to thank all of the mayors for their role in the relay race, as Mayor Hamilton described, that this project required to get to today's ceremony. Without all of them and your support for this project in the community, we certainly wouldn't be here today. So let's revisit how a project like this happens and some of the key milestones along the way. As Mayor Allison had indicated in 1992, she heard that CSX Transportation planned to move and abandon the historic Monon Railroad line between Bedford and Bloomington. Then Mayor Fernandez came into office, and one of his better moves was to pick his parks director in 1996. Oh, did I say that? Okay. I was 39 years old in 1996. Mayor Fernandez knew it was just a matter of time before the railroad line would no longer be active, and then an abandoned railroad corridor and support facilities in the Switchyard would become an opportunity for redevelopment. One of the first things that we did in the Parks Department in my tenure was to survey the community, all of you, and ask what you wanted in your Parks and Recreation Department, what kind of facilities and programs were of interest to our community. And much to my surprise at the time, being a sports guy, was that building trails was the #1 response to the community survey. Why is that important? In relation to this project, stay tuned. Phase 1 of the Clear Creek Trail opened in 2001. Guess what the second Parks Community Survey in 2001 revealed? Build more trails, stupid. We like them, keep building them. So that's what we did. Phase 2 of the Clear Creek Trail opened in 2003. That completed 2.1 new miles of trail that connected to the rail trail. And for you Parks Trail users, you know that's just south of where we stand today. In February of 2003, Mayor Fernandez announced that the city secured a $5.4 million grant to redevelop the soon-to-be-abandoned CSX rail corridor in Switchyard into an urban trail and park. Back in those days, they called those earmarks. Also in 2003, the city purchased the first of what would become many property acquisitions located in and around the Switchyard. This purchase was the 12 acres that Mayor Fernandez mentioned of the rail corridor owned by Indiana Railroad, not to be confused with CSX, that was on the western boundary of the Switchyard connecting to Rogers Street. That property starts just south of us and passes under this building. If you look to my right, your left, you'll see it now turned into a trail that connects into Rogers, and it continues to go south and connect to the rail trail. By December of 2003, the City Council unanimously expressed support of an urban trail project. That urban trail project became the Beeline. In 2004, Mark Truzan was elected mayor. This is also the year that the last freight train left the McDowell Switchyard site. In that same year, the Parks Department, with the help of Ratio Architects, completed the McDowell Switchyard and CSX Corridor Master Plan. This would guide community discussions on how the abandoned railroad property could be redeveloped. Now we're in January of 2006, and the city purchased a 28-acre stretch of railroad from Country Club Drive to just east of Adams Street for $3.225 million. Price of land went up and we bought more of it. Let me just add that negotiating with the multinational corporate entity, CSX, well, that takes a little bit of time. So it took about 3 years to acquire that parcel of property. In May 2008, construction of Phase 1 of the Beeline Trail from 2nd Street to Rogers, or about 0.6 of a mile of the 3.1-mile corridor, was started by the Parks Department. This phase was funded by a $900,000 Department of Natural Resources grant requiring a 20% match from the city. Phase 1 of the Beeline Trail opened in 2009. By March of 2009, the state of Indiana announced that the Beeline Trail was the recipient of $1.8 million in federal ARRA, better known as stimulus funding. And remember, this was during the recession, so anything that was shovel-ready was prioritized for funding. It just so happened the entire Beeline Trail was shovel-ready. So we were eligible. This announcement was followed by a congressional omnibus award of $950,000 and an Indiana Department of Environmental Management brownfield grant of $400,000 for the Beeline Trail. Securing these funding sources accelerated the planned phases 2 and 3 segments of the Beeline into one final segment. The final phase connected Rogers Street to Adams Street, that's 0.5 miles, and 2nd Street to Country Club Drive, that's 2 miles, which includes the 1.2-mile section of Switchyard Park property that comprises Switchyard Park today. In December of 2009, the City Council approved the purchase of the remaining 27 acres of Switchyard property between Grimes Lane and Country Club Drive for $400,000. That price of land went down. Remember when I said it takes a long time to negotiate with a multinational transportation company? If you recall, the first parcel purchase took 3 years to purchase, and this one took another 3 years. This 27-acre acquisition completed the property necessary to redevelop what you are about to see in its new state in a few minutes. Take a breath. In 2011, the 3.1-mile Beeline Trail was completed. The project created the critical link through the Switchyard property, providing users with access to the site. Also in 2011, the Parks Department contracted with Rundell, Ernstberger and Associates for a master plan study for Switchyard Park. Extensive public engagement was gathered about community interests for the future site over the course of the next 18 months. By September 2012, the Parks Board adopted the completed Switchyard Park Master Plan. Time to take a breath. We're halfway there. Here's a summary of what was accomplished from 2003 to 2013. 57 acres of land purchased, 2 master plans completed, 1 for the Beeline, 1 for the park. Funding for the trail project acquired. construction of the Beeline Trail completed. Ready for the conclusion? It's now October 2013. 2 years of negotiations with a private landowner to the west of the park, mostly the parking lot you parked in today, and the western entrance from Rogers Street, plus the location of the new affordable rental apartment project to our west, was purchased for $1.4 million. This almost 7-acre tract of land was necessary to provide a western entrance and a parking lot to support the park. In April of 2015, the Parks Department negotiated the purchase of the former Wee Willie's property. And let's all remember, it had already been closed. We didn't make them close, they had already closed. The site was purchased as an eastern entrance to the park. It was seen as an important location to bring people to the park on the recently constructed B-Link Trail, which is next to Black Lumber and goes all the way to Walnut Street, to bring people from the neighborhoods to the east to Switchyard Park, and also to provide additional parking. All of the previous steps in this project may not have mattered much until May of 2015. That's when the city's redevelopment commission approved $25 million in tax increment finance bonds for construction of the park. This funding source assured that the project could be completed. While Mayor Cruzan was not able to be here this evening, I want to acknowledge that without his support for the funding request, this project would have been in limbo. Another election cycle brought Mayor Hamilton into office in 2016. The next part of the relay race included an announcement in December of 16 that a sewer interceptor project would be completed prior to construction of the park project. The sewer interceptor project had to happen in sequence in order to clear the way for the park's construction. Earlier in 2017, the city purchased yet another parcel of property, the Night Move site. Okay, you all have jokes about that too. Just keep them to yourselves. That area was purchased to redevelop the area around the park. Later in 2017, the Parks Department unveiled a new logo for Switchyard Park, and you have that in front of you on your tables tonight. Almost to the end. In April 2018, the Parks Board, in conjunction with the Redevelopment Commission, awarded a $25.8 million construction contract to Weddle Brothers Building Group, and on May 11th, 2018, a groundbreaking ceremony was held to start the construction phase. It's now. What were the bets, the over and under I get through the speech? I know all the park staff figured there'd be a moment I would break. Okay, it's November 16th, 2019. It's actually today. For Mayor Allison's vision, through the Fernandez, Cruzan, and now Hamilton administration, stretching more than 25 years, there were many legs to this relay race. We're finally at the finish line, ready to open. Almost there, like a sentence left, so close. This community asset that will serve our residents and visitors for decades to come. I'm very proud to have been a part of the relay team that's brought this project to our community. And oh, by the way, I'm not 39 years old anymore. Thank you. Our next speaker is Cecil Penland. Cecil is with Rundell Ernstberger and Associates. Please welcome Cecil.
Good evening, everyone. This is truly an exciting event, and I'm honored to be with you here this evening. My name is Cecil Penland, and I'm a principal with Rundell Ernstberger Associates. We have served as the lead consultant on the planning and design of Switchyard Park since 2012. And I would like to sincerely thank the City of Bloomington, and especially Mayor Hamilton, Deputy Mayor Mick Reneisen, Parks Director Paula McDivitt, and Operations Director Dave Williams for placing your trust in our firm to lead the design of this truly remarkable and visionary legacy project for your community. Parks of this scale and scope are rare, not just for Bloomington, but nationally and internationally. It takes a client with a bold vision, dedication, fortitude, and a deep conviction and appreciation for parks and their constituents to bring something of this scale to life. Projects like this require these qualities because they bring a number of challenges, those related to financing, timing, environmental concerns, design, programming, and beyond getting it built, just how you maintain something of this scale into the future. The city of Bloomington is truly blessed to have the civic leadership to shepherd a project such as this to a successful outcome. So everyone here is very fortunate. As I've been contemplating my remarks for this evening, what stuck out the most in my mind is the number of hands involved in bringing the vision for Switchyard to a reality. Our design team alone consisted of ourselves, REA, and 11 sub-consultants, and more than 50 employees. I would be remiss if I didn't give credit to my team at REA. Kevin Osborne, Eric Ernstberger, Pete Andriott, Judd Huber, Andy Gudgeon, Sammy Sullivan, Kyle Koger, Pat Stout, Rotina Tian, Jessica Vonderow, John Zant, and Abby Sutton, as well as all of our colleagues at Access Architecture Interiors, Eric Anderson, Wes Snyder, who are here with us tonight, who did building design and engineering, as well as Bruce Carter Associates, Joel Marklin and John Kilmer, and Jacob, who's been our boots on the ground, who's taken care of kind of some of the environmental concerns on site. VS Engineering, who looked at bridges and traffic signalization, and we've got Josh with us here this evening. Christopher Burke Engineering, who assisted in permitting, the Engineering Collaborative, who did MEP engineering, Lynch Harrison and Brum Levy, who did structural engineering, Delta Fountains, who designed the wonderful water feature out here, Land Tech Irrigation Design, Hunger Skate Parks, and Ecologic Environmental Design. Beyond the design team, individuals from the City of Bloomington Parks and Recreation and Parks Foundation, planning, utilities, and fire departments have played a role in bringing this project to fruition, as well as at least 5 state and federal agencies. We also owe very special thanks to Weddle Brothers Building Group and their dedicated team of employees and subcontractors for bringing the vision to a reality. I think it's safe to say that several hundred individuals have played some part in the completion of this project. The result of the dedication and passion from all of these individuals and entities is apparent by the beautiful park that we celebrate this evening. Even though the finishing touches are still underway, I hope it is evident to everyone here tonight the potential that this place brings. As the weather breaks in the spring and construction draws to a conclusion, and the beauty of this place is revealed through the thousands of colorful plantings, landforms, environmental restoration, and activities to be enjoyed by people of all ages and backgrounds, I have no doubt this park will be a community treasure that will be coveted by countless individuals and families for generations to come. I just want to thank everybody again for allowing us to be a part of it. So thank you. Next, we're going to hear from Don Griffin with the Bloomington Redevelopment Team.
Hello, folks. How you doing? Everybody awake? Good evening. My name is Don Griffin, and I'm the president of the Bloomington Redevelopment Commission. I'm pleased to be here this evening representing the Redevelopment Commission, and on behalf of the RDC members, David Walters, Mary Alice Rickard, Eric Sandwies, Sue Scambolari, and Sue Wanzer. Are any of you in here? Oh, there's a few. Give them a hand, please. The RDC oversees the duties and responsibilities of the Department of Housing and Neighborhood Development, which includes community development block grants, home funds, neighborhood improvement grants, and tax increment districts. Working in partnership with City Controller, the RDC has a rich history in recent economic development projects such as the Trades District, the Dimension Mill renovation, downtown parking garages. Yeah, we'll get them done, don't worry about it. The Buskirk Chumbling, theater eligibility of facility improvements. The RDC has been involved with the Switchyard Park project and the commission who approved the tax increment finance funding for the Switchyard Park. Dave Williams presented detailed plans over the years, answering our questions and providing in-depth details about the master plan, design, approvals, and most importantly, the $34 million budget. The use of TIF funds for the Switchyard Park allowed the City of Bloomington to redevelop the area with a major community improvement. The opening of Switchyard Park celebrates and remembers the past and establishes a park for future generations as the history of this site moves on down the tracks. I didn't write that last part, but it's funny. I did say it. Next, we have Kathleen Mills, and she's the Vice President of Board and Park Commissioners. Thank you.
So I feel like the fact that we are opening this in November is recognition from the incredible Parks Department that you have, that they know that people in Bloomington want to use their parks year-round. As Don said, I'm Kathleen Mills. I'm the Vice President of the Board of Park Commissioners. Your program says that Les Coyne will be here, but he had to be called out of town, which is unfortunate because Les has been involved with this project for many, many years. Once again, with the opening of this park, the Bloomington Parks and Recreation Department has shown a remarkable capacity to meet both opportunities and challenges. It is at times like these that we see why the department is one of only 175 nationally accredited parks and recreation agencies in the country and one of only 4 in Indiana. The Bloomington Parks and Recreation Department is also a 2-time winner of the National Gold Medal Award for Excellence. Both of these are evidence that the department is known for working to the highest community standards. You've probably heard Switchyard Park already referred to as the largest park development in Bloomington's history. We could not be more impressed with the leadership shown by the department as they took on this multi-year, as many of the speakers have mentioned, multi-million-dollar project. The Board of Park Commissioners is so appreciative of the outstanding work by our Parks and Recreation Department Administrator, Paula McDevitt, and by the Operations and Development Division Director, Dave Williams. I know I speak for everyone here when I say the community owes Paula, Dave, and the rest of the department both our congratulations and our gratitude for the time they've spent ensuring that Switchyard Park will live up to all of our expectations. And while I do love ceremonial occasions such as this, in an odd way, I also look forward to the day when Switchyard Park is so seamlessly integrated into our lives that it is simply the park. I look forward to hearing my own children say to their friends, "Hey, you want to meet me in the park?" And knowing that that could mean that they will be riding their bikes, walking our dogs, attending a concert, going to the splash pad, playing basketball, or one of the many other wonderful uses this park will see in the coming decades. One of the other things that I think this may be about the 3rd time that I've had the chance to speak about Switchyard Park and Development, and one of the other things that I like to highlight is that I think when a park is working well, we don't even necessarily notice all of the things behind the scenes that are just perfect and anticipate all of our needs. And I'll just draw a comparison that I went to an event in a park in London this summer, and first of all, there were no signs to help me find my event. All the trash cans were overflowing. It was just a sort of general confusion, and I came back home and it made me appreciate all of the really small details that our Parks Department is able to do every day in so many properties around the city to make a pleasant park visiting experience. So of course, completion of Switchyard Park remains just one of the department's many projects, and even as crews are working here, the department is managing numerous other capital projects in parks across the city. The new playground at Crestmont Park is nearly complete. The contractors have been hard at work since September at a renovation project at the Waldron Hill and Buzzkirk Park, and the long-awaited bicentennial loop trail around Griffey Lake is in the design phase. And thanks to Mayor John Hamilton, the Parks and Recreation Department is preparing next year to spend $800,000 in bond funds to plant trees in some of the 1,600 vacant tree lots identified around Bloomington. Be sure to come back in the spring when everything is in full bloom and it's a little bit warmer. Our Parks Department touches every corner of our community. Switchyard Park is a highlight, but it's far from the only parks and recreation program or project to have significant impact in terms of the community. So on behalf of my fellow Parks Commissioners, Les Coyne, Lisa Thatcher, and Joe Hoffman, I extend my sincere congratulations to the Parks Department and say a big thank you to Mayor John Hamilton and his administration, as well as our former mayors, without whose forward thinking about Bloomington's future, Switchyard Park would not have been possible. Thank you.
It's an honor to be here, everyone. It's a distinct honor. It's not always easy to be the president of the city council, but tonight it's a wonderful opportunity, and I see Jim Sims is here and Allison Chopra. There are other council members here this evening. I want to express my appreciation from the council for everyone that made this possible. Is this a beautiful facility or what? I mean, I've met two people. I met two couples already that are getting married here. Isn't that great? Yes, that's right. So tell me if there are more. A few thoughts. I think that Mick Reneisen expressed it well as a relay race, and we were talking before this about links in a chain, how it requires that kind of continuity and that commitment for a vision to be fulfilled, and it's taken literally decades to get to tonight, and that's no small task. I was a bit nervous when we approved the $25 million bond, I must tell you, but I had total confidence in our Parks and Rec department, Mick Reneisen, Paula McDevitt, Dave Williams, and I remember sitting many times in Mick Reneisen's office and seeing the rendering on the wall and thinking, is that going to happen? That's really going to happen one day. And here it is. This is a premier public space in the center of Bloomington. This is where Bloomingtonians will come together for decades to come, far into the future. And we are lacking a lot of public spaces in society. So this is a very important public investment for Bloomingtonians now, and then in the future to gather and to recreate, to participate in sports. And there's a dog park as well. So this represents to me the cohesion of the community, celebration of the community. And I just want to say, on behalf of future residents, thank you all for making this possible. And on behalf of the dogs in the future, thank you for including a dog park. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Wow, what a crowd. This is absolutely incredible. Sorry, I just have to do this. You know, now I promised to the photographers over here that I will not post this on social media before you because this is incredible. The waves, I love it. I love seeing you here tonight. This is representative of what Bloomington, Indiana is all about. I love seeing the kids here because they are going to get to utilize this facility, this park, for their lives and future generations to come. I'm here tonight representing the Bloomington Parks and Recreation Foundation. The foundation receives gifts of land and funds to support the Parks Department. We are the intermediary that helps them do the things that they want to do, they need to do, and we do everything we can to support and enhance, make it better than what it can be without that. We also provide scholarships so that these young kids that are in financial need for scholarships to participate in the Parks Department programs and summer camp. The Parks Foundation also advocates for and supports tree plantings in our community. Most recently, the Foundation's Downtown Tree Plant Program, through our campaign, we was able to replace 14 trees around the downtown courthouse square with American linden trees. Also, what I want you to know, that in this park, They are going to be planting 40 species of native trees in the Switchyard Park. It's absolutely incredible to see what they're doing here with the tree and what canopy that we will see in years to come. Our members are well aware that this park is a once-in-a-lifetime project. Once in a lifetime means that we have one chance to get behind a project like this that has a positive impact in many ways. And again, I want you to know that the foundation works diligently to help enhance and improve, but also we have worked with the Parks Department since 1969. Now, I was not there at that time, but in 1969 is when the Parks Foundation Board started and has supported the Parks Department ever since. We have 20 plus members on the Parks Board, and they are here tonight. And if you are, would you please stand and wave your arms? I would like to give you and show you our appreciation. Wave them like this, okay? Thank you so much. Thank you. They work tirelessly for you. They work tirelessly for the children, and they work tirelessly for the future. We want to continue to reach out to the local businesses. We have employees right here in Bloomington and provide them an opportunity to leave their own legacies here at the Switchyard Park through naming rights and sponsorships. I want to thank the City of Bloomington and the Parks Department, the Redevelopment Commission, and the Park Board Commissioners, and the Rundell Ernstberger Associates. You've already heard about the vision that was here at the park and the numerous people, literally hundreds of people that worked together to make this park what it is today. Although we will take part in an official ribbon-cutting ceremony very soon, I want you to know that this began, as Mick so eloquently stated, many, many years ago. It was back then when this was the McDowell Railroad Switchyard. And the foundation, along with the Parks Department, the administrations, and the Parks Board had the vision to see what it is today. Tonight, we are especially pleased to announce that the very first partnership to take place at the Switchyard Park, the Community Foundation of Bloomington and Monroe County has signed a 20-year agreement to both financially support and name what we think will be one of the most popular features at the Switchyard Park, the splash pad and surrounding plaza. So yes, there's going to be a splash pad here at the park. And you all can join in on it. I know it's hard to envision that when it's so chilly outside tonight, but imagine on those hot summer days what it will be like to have a splash pad right here between all the other features that we are going to have in the park. We sincerely thank the Community Foundation and for the leadership, and we want to have the great benefits of our public parks who commit resources to ensure that they are used and cherished by future generations. On behalf of the Parks Foundation, we thank you again for being here this evening and for sharing in the celebration of the Switchyard Park. Please feel to find me or other Parks Foundation board members. Again, raise your hand, Foundation board members. If you have any questions, look to me or the other Foundation members. We'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. And it is my distinct honor at this time to turn the podium over to the Parks Administration Director, Paula McDivitt.
Thank you, and welcome to Switchyard Park. It feels so good to say that. Thank you for being here. And I got a signal from my staff. We officially have 345 people in attendance. Thank you for being here. I'm Paula McDevitt, Director of the Bloomington Parks and Recreation Department, and I am humbled and grateful to be here with you this evening. The remarks by tonight's special guest have guided us through visioning process, the planning, the decisions, the funding, the approval, the construction, and yes, the years and years that have been dedicated to building Switchyard Park. The Bloomington Parks and Recreation Department has a rich and vast history. In fact, we will celebrate the 100-year anniversary of our first park, Lower Cascades, in 2024. Yet another opportunity to plan a celebration because clearly we love what we do. A walk through our park system reveals the gifts of nature, green space, trees, native flowers, a lake, creeks, miles of trails, playgrounds, fountains, and facilities, some old and challenging, and historic, and now one very new park. Filled with so many surprises we are excited to reveal this evening and tomorrow. The department also has a rich history of achievement. We have been recognized nationally as a gold medal department not once, but twice. City, thank you. City administration, city council, the board of park commissioners, and most importantly, the community holds the department to high standards of operation, both in maintaining the over $84 million in assets. That's the very first time I have said that number with Switchyard Park added in. $84 million in assets. And the programs and events we manage. The department is nationally accredited, a comprehensive process we complete every 5 years. The achievements, assets, and honors are all the part of a rich history of Bloomington Parks and Recreation. But you might wonder, what goes on behind the scenes? The department has a mission statement, much like many organizations. And our mission statement guides us to provide open green space, work in partnership with community organizations, and of course to provide programs, events, and services. But on deeper reflection, behind the words, Bloomington Parks and Recreation provides experiences. We create lifelong memories every time someone plays on a playground, walks on a trail, makes a free throw, dances at an outdoor concert, makes a new friend at a day camp, or maybe makes a hole-in-one on the golf course. Not once, but twice. Mr. Van Eisen. How great is that? And tonight we are creating yet another experience and memories of all time. So how does this all happen? The creation of experiences. As the director of the department, I am so privileged and in awe of our staff every single day. The dedication, passion, creativity, fun, teamwork, and the desire to be the best we can be is something to behold. Behind the scenes of bringing Switchyard Park to this moment in time, our staff have been in years of planning meetings, tackling challenges, making so many decisions. My personal favorite part, picking out colors and features, planning programs and events, and now, this weekend, welcoming the community to Switchyard Park. Switchyard Park has involved the entire department, the operations, recreation, sports, and administration divisions. Tonight and tomorrow, you'll have the opportunity to meet our staff. We're all dressed alike. We like to do that for special events. Take a moment to meet them. You will quickly find that we are grateful for the support we've had for the park, from city administration, guidance from the Park Board of Commissioners, funding from the Redevelopment Commission, support from the Bloomington Parks and Recreation Foundation, design expertise from Rundell, Ernstberg and Associates, and Weddell Brothers Building Group. I'd like my staff at this time to raise your hands in the black shirts. You've seen them all evening. Thank you. Preparing for this opening event weekend was a department-wide operation filled with deadlines and to-do lists. It's been all hands on deck with the entire operations division working alongside the grand opening committee who have gone above and beyond. I'd like to recognize that committee, and I ask staff to raise their hands. Becky Higgins, Leslie Brinson, Kim Clapp, Rebecca Jania, Sean Marler, Julie Ramey, Mark Marowitz, Crystal Ritter, and Barb Dunbar. Thank you. And now I would like to recognize one staff member in particular who has led the Switchyard Park project from beginning to almost the end. Dave Williams, Operations and Development Division Director, would you please come to the stage? And I know where you're sitting, please come forward. I asked Dave if he wanted to say a few words tonight, and he emphatically said no. So I had to come up with Plan B. Bear with me. Okay. Dave Williams has worked for the department for the past 26 years. Dave brought to his current position a background and expertise and experience with the Indiana Department of Natural Resources Division of State Parks. His knowledge, insight, and experience has been the key to the success of so many of our park projects throughout the department. But Switchyard Park, and I know that Dave will agree, is the project experience of a lifetime. And what has made this so special is Dave was born and raised in Bloomington. He knows this town, he knows this community, and he knows the significance of the history of the site and the impact Switchyard Park will have for generations to come. While managing the operations division, Dave also worked on taking the Beeline Trail from a vision to reality, and then quickly turned his sights further down the trail to Switchyard Park. For those of you who know Dave, who've had the privilege of working with him, you know he is dedicated, driven, and passionate for the work he does. Dave has led the Switchyard project from day one. Through his leadership, he guided the master planning process, represented the project through numerous approvals, oversaw the biggest details down to his words, the minutia, and often concluded our meetings with these parting words: "We'll get through it." Well, Dave, I think we got through it. So, every time Dave walks through Switchyard Park, he'll be filled with the memories and the experience that have all gone into this project. So I would like to present you with a recognition plaque for your office so that you are never too far from the heart of Switchyard Park. So thank you all again for your support and for joining the celebration tonight. Your experience at Switchyard Park is about to begin. Thank you. I would like to now invite Mayor John Hamilton back to the podium.
Thank you very much. I'm standing between you and a ribbon cutting, I realize that. First, I don't know if we thanked our band tonight. I do want to thank the awesome music. I don't know what your name is, Switchyard Band, or I don't know who you are, but thank you for the entertainment, and thank everyone for all you've done. It's taken hundreds of hands to do this, as you heard. Thank you to Paula, and congratulations all of our colleagues, Dave, partners who've guided this project. And thank you to all of you, the members of the Bloomington community, individual residents and taxpayers, organizations, businesses whose investments in this city have supported this project and leading Bloomington into our third century with a bang. Dawn and I have walked through this land a lot. We bring guests through here every Thanksgiving and Christmas when they're in town, and it is great to be with all of you who love Bloomington and have played such key roles in the journey. Like fellow travelers on a long train ride. I didn't write that either. We can reflect on where we've come from as we contemplate the tracks that lead us into the future. It's been quite a journey. Long before this land was a railroad switchyard. Long before the first train came through Bloomington in 1853. Long before the state designated a small seminary just a few blocks north as Indiana University in 1820. It is essential and sobering to acknowledge that these were the ancestral homelands of the Miami, Delaware, Potawatomi, and Shawnee people. As over the past 150 years, this place became a thoroughfare, a transfer site, a place where trains switch tracks en route to far-off destinations. This 57-acre site will now assume a new identity as its own destination. Its rededication tonight will change Bloomington's onward journey in a way that we can only imagine as we take a long view of our city. It will change our community like other parks have, like Cascades Park has done since its dedication 95 years ago, like Bryan Park has done since its dedication 62 years ago. I know we've done this, but I just want, as a whole community, to thank the people from Paula and Dave and everyone of our two-time gold medal winning Parks and Recreation Department and let them know what they mean to us. Woo! Yeah. We love you. And besides the courts and the courses, the trails and playgrounds, the ice and lake and streams, the classes and concerts and movies and celebrations, besides all that amazing stuff, parks are some of the city's most hard-working elements. They're like our lungs with tens of thousands of trees. Indeed, the 3,600 trees planted in Switchyard, 3,600, will add to our Tree City's significant and growing urban forest. Parks improve air quality, sequester carbon, reduce energy demand, prevent erosion, provide habitat for wildlife. Trails like the beeline that wind through this park move bikers and walkers around our city. We play in our parks, and Switchyard offers great new places, a splash pad, a new playground, pickleball, bocce, basketball, skate park, open lawns and wetlands, great new dog parks. We gather and celebrate in parks. And what about this outstanding new pavilion? Are you ready for lots of parties in this place? Can you imagine it? It's awesome. It's beautiful. Thank you. We have the great lawns and outdoor stage and picnic areas and the Bosque. It will be wonderful to see all the galas and shindigs and hootenannies and raves and everything else that's going to be hosted here. And parks make everything around them better. As neighborhoods and enterprises nearby thrive with their proximity to this new shining city pearl. And let's always remember this public park helps build equity and opportunity as a place where all are welcome from all walks of life, from whatever means, to enjoy this public amenity. As Switchyard Park has developed through 4 administrations, we continue to work to leverage its impact. We've purchased land around the park to develop for mixed and affordable housing, like at Switchyard Apartments on Rogers and at the Walnut entrance, to assure that people from all walks of life can live by and enjoy this great park. We've made sure that those of all ages and all abilities are included in this vision, from the all abilities splash pad to the accessible playground and raised community garden beds to the dog park and trails and more. This park invites everyone in. We've created new venues, including this pavilion and the outdoor plaza we're going to see shortly, the shelters, new 5,000-person lawn and stage and amphitheater. We've focused on sustainability with native trees and daylighted stream and wetlands, supporting more native habitat, with a police station LEED certified police substation, and with this pavilion, a LEED Silver certified building. This is a night of new beginnings, dedicating a transformed 57-acre industrial site right here in the middle of our city, unwrapping a beautiful gift to current and future residents of and visitors to Bloomington. Things happen when we imagine them. First, we have to imagine them. Then we have to work to accomplish them. A poet has said, "Our reach should always exceed our grasp." That is, we always should be reaching far and striving to grasp. That's what we've been doing, I believe, in Bloomington these past few years as we reach toward the new economy and reach toward equitable housing and reach toward a more vibrant downtown and we reach toward a more responsible and sustainable future. There are no great cities without great parks. And we have been reaching toward this great new park for decades. Well, tonight, my friends, we can close our grasp around it, for it is here. Thank you, and welcome to Switchyard Park. All right. We are now going to I want you to stay seated for just a moment. We're going to cut a ribbon right here, and we're going to open a door. And when we cut that ribbon, we're going to all, I hope you feel welcome to walk through that door out into the park. We're going to go to the stage. There'll be a little more music, a little more ceremony, and then there's going to be some fun stuff outside. So I don't want you to miss it. And do remember, 11 to 3 tomorrow is going to be a rocking time. Be sure to come back and enjoy the park. Thank you all. We'll cut the ribbon now.
Count with me. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
And one more special treat tonight. For that, I want to welcome to speak to you and introduce it, the President and CEO of Cook Group, Pete Youngman, who's up here. Please welcome Pete to the front here.
Yeah, good evening. As some of you know, we, for the last several years, have sponsored an event called B-Town Boom. And the original idea of that event was to bring the community together around the 4th of July, have a celebration. And when we saw this facility, we thought, this is where it needs to be. So this starting, save the date, On July 2nd of this year, B-Town Boom will be in this location. And we expect to see all of you out here, but also we need some help. We need help from the local restaurants, bars. I expect to see all the bars lined up on the B line, right? No problem with the city. But you can imagine this facility filled with people and families enjoying the 4th of July. And during that event, we always lost the crowds. And so we thought we'd like to do that over here tonight, just to get a sense of what it might look like here. So, they tell me that we are able to use bigger shells in this location because it's safer. So we like big fireworks to cook. So let's see how big they are. Vic's gonna help me count down here. This is my son. He's gonna do the countdown. That should start the fireworks. Ready? Go. Okay, ready? 1, 3, 2, 1, go!